In 2011, as the executive director for the Black Metropolis Research Consortium at the University of Chicago, I identified and authored a grant proposal for a collaborative processing project that was a perfect candidate for the CLEAR Hidden Initiatives program. Within Chicago's African American community, there were many uncatalogued primary resource documents which were of tremendous research value to understanding the city's rich cultural history. A lack of adequate financial and staffing resources were among the many roadblocks that we faced in making these collections accessible, both locally and globally. When the BMRC received the CLEAR Hidden Collections grant, it was situated to process over 150 collections across a number of institutions, thus transforming them from these collections that were just sitting around in boxes to living history. Additionally, the CLEAR grant afforded the BMRC the opportunity to employ interns at the undergraduate and graduate level. Our vision was to use the Hidden Collections grant not only as a vehicle of accessing the past, but also creating future archivists and curators of the future.
First, what I look for is the impact in the local context as well as the broader context. So it actually shows the PI thought about how the hidden collection impacts the people. One of the issues that I regularly see is the elevation of the collection materials over the audience in which it's supposed to relate. And so when we think about a hidden collection, we kind of think about the objects themselves and how digitizing these and making these available would benefit the collection, rather than thinking more about the audience and how it impacts the audience. We also think about the creators of the content as being diverse individuals, and that is fulfilling that question of diversity as part of the application process. What is typically left out is how the new collection impacts the diverse individuals, if you will, of today, and how the collection relates to their story or continues their story. And that kind of gets to a little bit of how partnerships are being made or explored as part of this grant process.
I always advise clients that unless you can give a grant proposal the reflection it deserves, you should not squander time crafting it. You want funders and proposal reviewers to be excited about your project. You want them to say, yes, this is something that is worthy of us funding and needs our support.
If you can articulate what kinds of future initiatives that you're thinking about as part of the digitization process or beyond, that kind of helps the reviewers see that you are not only invested in the process, but also thinking about what you might do in the future. When you think about how these funds might support organizational staffing, one of the things you might think about is how the funds are being distributed within the staff so that everyone gets paid for their time. There should be living wages for folks who are contributing to the project.
The project should not only yield positive economic impacts on your organization, but it should also create outcomes which have rewarding social and historical impacts. Take a look at your collections and ask if a potential project would advance historical understanding, cultural inclusion, and build capacity for future endeavors. It's not about the quantity of the grant award, but rather the quality and social impact that your project will provide your stakeholders.
In thinking about how these hidden collections might foster new and exciting partnerships between institutions that might not have come together before is really quite exciting. Also, developing new workflows is really exciting, and seeing institutions think about how going through the process of making this hidden collection available, they might also then develop new workflows that can be operationalized within their own institution is really quite exciting.